Mack Tight Radio
with the hottest radio station, Mack Tight Radio, Ready to Learn show. Yours truly, Mack Joker, and it's about to go down. We got a special guest in the building. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let them know who you are and what do you do.
My name is Yecheilyah Ysrayl on a Ready to Learn show hosted by Mack Tight Radio, and I am an author, blogger, and poet.
Well, Yecheilyah, welcome to the Ready to Learn show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank
and
you,
we're about to jump straight into it. So you're an author.
Yes.
And
yes, sir.
You write books to restore Black historical truth.
Yes,
can you elaborate?
yes.
Yeah, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Absolutely. Well, my first love is poetry. So what I like to do in whatever I write is to make sure that Black people are represented in every which way. And what I love to do is bring up Black historical facts that are little known in the mainstream, that we aren't really taught within the American school system,
right,
and to incorporate that in my writing. So we have a variety of the things that we can read, because a lot of what we read influences our everyday life. So if I can do my part to bring that forward, I have to do it.
That's dope. I like that. I like that. So what inspired you to start writing?
Man.
Yeah.
I always say reading did, because I've been writing since I was about 12 years old.
Okay.
And I was really into reading. Like, I would just read. And reading those stories really inspired me to write. And specifically, it's a book by Mildred D. Taylor called Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. And it's about Black family life, Southern life, sharecropping and things like that. And that book really pulled me into wanting to write stories of my own.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, I want to ask you something, you see, and I think it's dope what you're doing. I like it a lot. Do you find it tough in the Black community, just people just being interested in reading as a whole?
Yes, I do. I definitely think that it's changing.
Okay.
I think that the social climate that we're in, with everything going on in my Arbery and all of these things, I think that people are more, Black people are more inspired to read. But I think the problem with that, though, is we're not finding books that are representative of us and the lives that we live. So representation has a lot to do with it. You know, you're not going to feel very confident in reading books that don't really have anything to do with you. So
Right.
I think that the more literature we have that talk about the lives that we live and speak the way that we speak and that we can relate to, I think that people would be more encouraged to read.
No doubt, no doubt. And I totally agree. Let's talk I Am Soul. What inspired the book?
Oh, man. So I have a blog, the PBS
Okay.
blog, that I started about it was like 7 years ago. And I would share poems to my blog. I would share Black history poems to my blog. You know, usually we just shared in our journals and stuff like that. But with the internet and technology, we have the opportunity to really share this publicly. And people loved it so much that I had a lot of people saying that I should create a book from it. So over the course of 3 years, I took all of these Black history poems, all of these women-inspired poems, all of these empowering poems, and I put it together in a book form and called it I Am Soul. Because when I think about Black people, we're soul, we're that seasoning, we're that salt.
Right.
So,
right. No doubt. I like that. I like that. So, what has been, I guess, the toughest hurdle you've had to overcome, just being I assume you're an independent author?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And what has been the toughest hurdle you've had to overcome, just being an independent author?
I think indie artists in general,
Okay.
for me, and I'm sure for a lot of indie artists, it has been exposure. Because one misconception is that indie authors and indie artists are not as skillful, or maybe don't get paid financially, or things like that. But it's
Right.
really exposure. When you think about traditionally published authors, they have the platform
Okay.
to be seen and stuff like that. So my biggest struggles has always been just trying to get my message out to enough people. And that's one of the reasons why I started the blog, you know, to be able to reach more people so that the message can reverberate
Right.
more than like my own platform.
Right. No doubt. No doubt. So just to piggyback off what you said with the exposure, do you think that is something that can be improving or needs to be improved? I mean, what are your thoughts that can possibly help improve other artists, independent artists, getting more exposure?
I think one of the things that we can do is what we're doing right now,
Okay.
collaborate with one another. We are all independent artists, whether you do music, whether you do writing. And
Right.
so the more that because social media is one thing, you know, it's designed to be social. It's designed for us to be able to connect and network. So the more that we actually connect and network, you know, likes, comments, you know, that's cool. But the more we actually reach out to one another,
Right.
since we're all having this similar issue sometimes with platforms and stuff, the more we collaborate, I think the more we can bring awareness to some of the issues that we may encounter as indie artists that may be specific to indie artists and things like that.
No doubt. I like that. And a couple of one topic that's came up with previous guests, and I would like to certainly get your perspective and thoughts on it. Is you touched on collaboration, and do you think it's a tough issue or for collaboration specifically within the Black community when it comes to other independent artists, supporting other independent artists, or other small businesses, supporting other small businesses? You know, some of the things that came up is competition versus collaboration. Do you think that's an issue within the independent community, but primarily specifically with the Black community?
I do think
Okay.
like I said, I think these things are changing.
Right.
Only because independent isn't seen as so mediocre as it used to be.
Okay.
But I do think that in some ways it is a problem. And I think that's only because we're still looking at it from the terms of like the mainstream. You know, usually when people see somebody they consider to be mainstream, or it seems to get more like clout or whatever like that. So there could be some intimidation by some when they see somebody they see so-called coming up, you know, they think that it was built in a day, or they think that this person is on now, so it didn't take that long. But I think it's changing, and I hope it's changing, and I would like to see us, like, especially within the Black community, like, we really don't have time for that. We don't have time for like competition for what? Like, you're competing against yourself. And that's what I always say, is that it's me versus me. It's Yecheilyah 2021 versus Yecheilyah 2020. And then in 2022, it's going to be Yecheilyah 2022 versus Yecheilyah 2021. So if we all look at it like that, then we'll be like, okay, well, I can work with you because I see you trying to get here. And I can, and that's another thing is, the problem is not sharing our resources. So if there is a competition type thing, I don't think it's necessary she think or he think. I think it's, don't be afraid to share your resources.
Right.
You know, so
okay. Let's speak on networking. The power of networking, because I feel networking is very crucial.
Yes.
In business, in pretty much in any line of business that you do. Can you speak on the power of networking, and just the importance of it, just being an independent artist?
Oh, absolutely. And I have some examples I think would be helpful. Networking is so powerful that like a lot of the things that I've been able to accomplish as an indie author has been through the recommendation of other people, through talking with other people. So I'm originally from Chicago. I've been down here in Georgia for about a few years, and I used to go to this bookstore, Nubian Bookstore. Shout out to Nubian Bookstore. And I used to just go there. I wasn't going there for anything but to buy books. Like I said, I'm a nerd. I buy books. I'm one of those people. I would buy 10 books. I read some books. That's me. So I was going to this bookstore for a couple months, and then I was like, you know what, how can I get my book in this bookstore? I asked him, and he told me how I can get my book in the bookstore, and then he recommended me to another woman named Nia Damali at the Greenboro Mall at the Medu bookstore. She's the one you see in the picture on my last Instagram post, and he was like, you should try to get your book in there. And I was like, oh cool. So I went over there, I got my book in there, and then I went to I met a sister, and I went to her Settle Free mixer. I met a sister named Tinsley, good sister. I went to her Settle Free mixer. At that Settle Free mixer, I met Dr. Oliver T. Reed. Then my husband bought a copy of his book. Then we both went to his master class where we met Kelly Cole. So like all of these different, that's how it worked. Like we're if exposure is a problem, then by networking, we're building on each other's platforms. Exactly. So it's like, I went to the mall today, and a brother was selling popcorn. So I didn't just buy the popcorn, but I tagged him on my stories. So building on each other's platform, that's networking. That's how you get on, is, being able to connect with each other. So. Exactly.
Can you speak on the power of social media? Let's take it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it's a balance, right? So networking is something that we can do both on and offline. We know this. Okay. But social media, because it's like the real work takes place offline. And then I like to say that social media is the way of pushing that real work so that it reaches people all over the world. So I'm here in Georgia, right? So physically, especially with the pandemic, I can only reach so many people physically. But when I take those pictures and I post it to my Instagram, on my Facebook and social media, I'm reaching people all over the world. I'm reaching people in Chicago, New York, other countries, China, whatever it is. I mean, there are analytics that I can see on my blog where they show you reach this percentage of people in the UK, you reach this percentage of people in Africa. I've had people from South Africa email me. That's the power of social media. It's not necessarily direct selling like people say, like even though you do sell your products on social media, but it's social. So it's socializing and expanding your brand and your message beyond yourself.
No doubt. I like that. Most definitely it is, and it's about collaborating and like you said, sharing each other's platform. Right. Let's talk Renaissance.
Let's
how did that come about, and what's it about, without giving too much away?
Okay. Well, Renaissance is book 1 in my Nora White series. And it is the story of a young woman who inadvertently becomes part of the Harlem Renaissance movement. Oh, so she actually lives in the South of Mississippi, and she graduates high school, and her parents wants her to go to college, as most parents do. And Nora's like, nah, I ain't really trying to do that. I want to, And so she takes her college money and steals her college money, runs away to the North, and she ends up rubbing elbows with Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston and that whole thing. And so I really just wanted to create the thing about historical fiction is that I like to take fictional people and place them in the midst of real world events and stuff that actually happened. So taking the 1920s Harlem Renaissance movement, the things that was going on at the time, the redlining, keeping blacks out of certain, because a lot of people saw the North as the land of milk and honey. You got the Jim Crow South, then you got but it was slavery. It's like, come on, it was just slavery the opposite. And stuff up there too. The Jim Crow North, like that stuff was happening up there too, So I wanted to reflect that in that book.
No doubt. I like that. So, typically speaking, how long does it take you to write a book?
Oh, I'm a slow writer. Let me see. To get the first draft done, because if we look at the different phases of writing a book, to finish a first draft, I would say it take anywhere between, if it's a short book, 3 to 6 months. If it's a long book, like a thick novel, I would say 6 months to a year to finish the first draft. Like you just getting it down.
Okay. And so, I mean, this is something new to me. Forgive me for not knowing. Can you take me through the phases, the steps? How many phases?
Oh, okay. So be real quick. So for those of you who are writing your books, you want to write your book. The first draft is when you just put it all on paper. Like you're not worrying about editing it. You're not worried about structure. You're not worrying about content. You just taking what's in your head and you putting it down on paper. You got the ideas flowing. Because a lot of people are like, well, how do I get started? Well, you sit your booty in the chair, you open up the Word document, and you start typing. You know,
start with the basics.
You putting it down. Now, that process for some may also include outlining. Some people may want to, you know, create like that's at your own, but that's the first draft. So that's me. So for a short book, let's say a novella, that's about 6 months of me just typing it out, getting it down, boom. And then the second phase, I like to call the revision phase. That's when I go back and I see, you know what I said? Her favorite color was red. I said she hated red. Why she got on green shoes? So that's me looking at stuff like this. Some of this stuff don't make sense. Deleting stuff I don't want in it and stuff like that. And of course, you have the professional editing where you have to send it in to be professionally edited so they can flesh it out. And there are different many phases of that. We don't have to go through that, but they can kind of like put it together or whatever like that. So,
wow. So really about three in all, about three major steps.
Oh, it's kind of more, but I would say 3 major steps. If you do first draft, revision, professional editing, I would add a 4th, formatting, because you have to, because we live in a digital age, so you have to format your book for digital and print. So you want people to be able to read it on your Kindles. And see, a lot of people don't know you can read books on your phone and on your Kindle because it's formatted for that. You just can't you know, it has to be formatted for that. So, yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. And to date, how many books have you written?
I have written about 14 today.
Wow. No doubt. I like that. And 14 today. Do we see any maybe transitioning to big screen maybe?
Yeah, I would really like to, if Tyler Perry's watching, I mean, Oprah, whoever.
You never know. Put it out there.
Ava,
there you go. I tell them all, put it out there.
Right. If anyone's watching, but no, I would really love to get my Stella trilogy done as a movie. Like a lot of people have been asking me about it. It's basically it's a novella, so it's like a short story, 3-part short story. Between Slavery and Freedom is the first book, Beyond the Colored Line, and then The Road to Freedom. And it's the story of one woman's family over the course of generations searching for their identity. So in book 1, we have Stella. She's enslaved on Paul Sattler's plantation, and he's trying to get her to stay on the plantation, even though Blacks have been free at this point. And then we meet her granddaughter in book 2, Beyond the Colored Line, who's dealing with the issue of passing. As we see Netflix Passing, based on Nella Larson's book. So she's dealing with the issue of she's very fair-skinned. She can pass for white. She does pass for white. Okay. And then in book 3, we have her son, Joseph, who becomes part of the civil rights movement. So I would love to see that series and those parts as like Netflix, if you're watching, Amazon.
Well, let me ask you this, Yecheilyah. Since we're putting it out there in the universe, can you see somebody playing Stella? Do you have an actress in mind that could possibly? Or you haven't gave it that much thought yet?
I actually have. I'm so bad with actually the young woman who's actually playing in Passing on Netflix Passing, the character. So I can see her.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Especially because I'm naturally introverted. So especially when I have a lot on my mind or I'm stressing out and stuff like that, I have to write. Like I have to write something down, even if it's typing in the notepad on my phone. I actually use the notepad on my phone. Like my joint is like filled up. And so with journaling, I have a journal. I have journaled since I was a kid, and I always say that journaling helped me to keep writing at the forefront of my mind in terms of not forgetting what I wanted to do. You know, as a kid, we go through a lot of different things. One minute we want to be a writer, next minute we want to be an astronaut. One
Right.
minute, but for me, it's never changed. I always wanted to be a writer, even from a little kid. And so what I always did was carry a journal or a notebook or a diary around with me everywhere I went, and I would document things.
Okay.
And the importance of that is us remembering. That's part of history too, remembering things. Like we underestimate how we remember when we write it down. So for example, I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing during 9/11. I remember exactly what I wrote in that journal. It was very corny. I was on some, God bless America.
Right.
And we've been attacked. And,
Right.
and it's terrible. I was 14 years old, right?
Patriotic.
Right, very patriotic. 14-year-old me. But I remember this because I wrote it down. And there are other events in my life I remember because I wrote it down. So not underestimating the power of being able to see your goals and to be reminded of it, even if you have to take Post-it notes and post it on the board, just so that you can look up at it like, okay, even if it's like, let's say, is this the end of 2021? In January, you said you was going to work out every day. And you remember, dang, I ain't even had time to work out. I ain't even do what I said. But if you remember and you open it up and you constantly looking at it, even if you're not consciously doing it, subconsciously writing things down helps you to remember and helps you to be more accountable. Or at least that's how it has been for me.
Now you hit the word that I had in mind, is accountability. It does help you hold yourself accountable. You can't escape what you done wrote down. You can't lie to yourself now.
Right, you wrote it.
That's right. It's right there. It's right there. You did write it. Let's talk the women with blue eyes. Can you tell us about that there?
The women with blue eyes. Well, this is a little new. This is my first urban fantasy fiction novel. And imagine that there is mysterious deaths of Black men in the city of Chicago. And Tina, our main character, is charged with investigating these murders. And as she's investigating these murders, she soon finds out that the deaths are due to a fallen angel legion of women masquerading, of angels, fallen angels masquerading as women with blue eyes. And so it is up to her, the angel that's helping her, and a man named Jason, whose life she ends up having to save. It's up to them to take down his legion, find out why they're here, why Black men, why their powers specifically. So I'm merging magical realism, supernatural, spiritual, and Black history in one book.
All in one.
All in one.
I'd like that. That's dope. How you even came up with that, even the idea to just merge them all together in one. I like that. Next, we got to touch on My Soul is a Witness.
My Soul is a Witness. Yes.
That right there. I mean, that sounds interesting right there. That's tell me a little bit about that.
My Soul is a Witness, that is my latest collection of poetry. It's kind of a follow-up to I Am Soul. But with this book, what I wanted to do different, what I hoped to communicate is, first, I am soul, but our soul is also a witness. And so what I wanted to do was, a lot of people don't share the struggles that they go through and as a balance with the rewards. So I wanted to share some of the struggles that I endure, some of the pain that I have overcame, and kind of like share that, basically like my pain and my triumph together. Okay. Like not only am I a witness to overcoming the things that I've personally had to overcome, but we as a people, as Black people, is a witness. Like we're a witness to both the blessings and the curses that we have had to endure as a people. Like with our literal lives, us just still being here as a people is a witness itself.
Right. Who's your biggest most motivation?
My biggest motivation in terms of a person?
In terms of a person, or what help keeps you motivated? Whether
Mm.
it could be a person, it could be just, what keeps Yecheilyah going? What keeps you just going strong, staying at it? For you
Mm.
14 books in, and still, it doesn't sound as if you're slowing down.
Oh,
What?
I hope not.
No doubt, no doubt. So
I would
what?
have to say it's a few things. My first motivation is the Creator, the Almighty Power, Yah, just being able to bless me with the gifts to be able to speak to His people, and then my other biggest motivation is Black people in general. Our
Okay,
whole everything that we are, because our legacy is what inspires me to write these stories and
right.
wanting to leave to leave something behind so that the next generation won't forget everything we've been through. A tree without roots doesn't exist. So you
Ooh,
have these branches and these beautiful leaves and you have all these things, but without roots, the first storm can just push you away. I mean, not even a storm, the best rain can just wash you away. So Yah, the Creator, my people, Black people in general, and just like knowing that I have a calling to be a part of this journey. Like
right,
just it's like when you know that you have a purpose, when you
right,
know that you are driven to do something, it wakes you up in the morning. It's
right.
a quote somewhere that says like you don't have to be pushed, the passion, it pushes you. So
Mm,
when you wake up excited to discover what else can I, something as simple as what else of a Black History fun fact can I tell the people about today?
right.
Did you know Martin Luther King was born Michael, not Martin, but his daddy changed his name? Did you know, the first, the precursor to the menstrual pad was invented by a Black woman? Or, did you know a Black man invented
Right.
the modern day version of the Mack? So it's that kind of stuff motivates me. That kind of stuff, yes, and
Right.
it just gets me going. So just our legacy.
No doubt. No doubt. It keeps you that hunger. It makes you want.
Yeah, that's
It
what it
wants you
is.
more. You want more and more and more.
Right.
Uh, can you speak to the importance of consistency? Um,
Oh,
I saw that you're big on staying consistent,
yes,
not
yes.
motivated but consistent.
Yeah,
Can,
because you're not gonna always be motivated.
exactly. Can you just speak on just the importance of consistency for those out there listening, those independent authors and independent artists? It's you got to stay consistent, and you just being successful as an independent author. Can you just speak to the importance of consistency?
Absolutely. I like to say actions speak louder than words, but consistency speaks louder than both.
Mm,
So it's almost going back to that basic practice makes perfect type thing.
okay.
And going back to what I said about, you see people who, because success means different things to different people.
Right.
So, but you see people who you consider successful and it looked like they did it overnight. It looked like they just woke up one day and got lucky. But no, it's largely due to consistency. You have to be able to keep at something long enough to get past the bad parts so that you can get to the wins. Like, so, another saying people like to say, have you failed enough to
Ooh.
have won? Like,
Right.
have you even failed enough? Like, have you been through? What have you been through? Have you been through anything?
Right.
We look at that as being bad, but have you struggled ever in your life? Like, have you struggled in this craft? Have you studied enough? Have you been? Because usually what happens is we stop when it get hard. And
Okay.
when I say when it get hard, that just don't mean when it get hard in terms of the craft of whatever you're doing, but we stop when life get hard. We stop when people stop supporting us. We stop when whatever our version of hard is, we stop. But you can't stop. You have to keep going. You have to stay consistent. And that's one of the things that I had posted to my page. Is like, I don't stay motivated. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, say I'm happy, hey, successful
Right.
every day. No,
Right.
that's no. Like, most of the time I am like, man, this just not working out.
Right.
But I get up and I do it again anyway because I know that in the times I'm not motivated, if I'm disciplined enough, I'm going to make it over that hurdle.
Exactly.
So for me, it's about discipline and consistency together in those times where you're not motivated and excited.
Exactly. Exactly. What advice would you give somebody that's trying to jump in the game and want to write their first novel? Doesn't know where to begin, no sense of mentorship,
Right.
but just want to know that they want to write a novel. What would be your first advice?
My first advice to this person would be to read.
Okay.
Reading. If you and this is for someone who has never really been into, who the first inkling of a thought to write a book, the first hope that they can write a book in this new age of self-publishing indie authors. That first time person you was talking about, read.
Right.
There are things you can learn from reading that you ain't gonna learn in no school, that you don't have to go and get any degrees from. You have to read books to write books.
Okay.
And it's not even just about the technical stuff. This is, chapter 1, chapter 2. It's about just understanding just the workings of a story, how to first put it down on paper. Right. And subconsciously you learn so much from reading. So that's what I would say. I don't believe that you can write a book if you don't read books. You absolutely must read. And I would say it's a good idea if you're a first-time author or first-time aspiring author.
Right.
It's a good idea to read the kind of books you want to write. So if you want to write a memoir, read memoirs, eat them up. If you want to write poetry, read poetry books. If you want to write romance, read romance books so you can see how it's done.
Exactly. And I like that too. The simple fact that you said before writing a book, just read.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. You see, it's been a pleasure having you here. You definitely dropping gems. Definitely dropping gems.
I hope so.
Let the people know where they can grab a hold of a copy of your books if they want to purchase some of your novels.
Everything could be found on my website, and I know my name is long, so we'll have to type it in. But YecheilyahYsrayl.com. It's my first and last name.com. Everything could be found there. Links to my books on Amazon, links to the autographed paperback books I just restocked. So this is a really good time to get autographed paperbacks on free shipping. If you are in the Atlanta area, my books are available at a few bookstores, the Medu bookstore at the Greenboro Mall, the Barnes & Noble in Marietta, the Nubian bookstore in Morrow, Georgia, and Tall Tales bookstore in Atlanta. Again, all of this is on my website. All you got to do is look at offline books. So just everything is on my website. You can find it YecheilyahYsrayl.com, and you can follow me on Instagram at Yecheilyah, Twitter at Yecheilyah for more information.
No doubt. You see, you're welcome back anytime on the Ready to Learn show. Again, you're doing big things.
Yes.
Continue dropping those novels. Double salute to you. And again, like I said, you're welcome back anytime. Big ups to you.
Thank you. I appreciate the platform. Thank you.
No doubt. You already know you're rocking with the hottest station, Ready to Learn show. Mack Radio.